Hello everyone. In this video, we'll discuss the summary of William Shakespeare's The Tempest. It is a comedy. According to First Folio edition, the work was first published in the year 1623. Now, this will be a very short and crisp summary. It won't be a detailed one. However, through this short summary, you'll get to know the important characters as well as the major incidents that take place in the story that will help you to answer questions asked for competitive exams like UGC, NET, SET, etc. Now, let's first make ourselves familiar with the characters. King Alonso of Naples, his son Ferdinand, brother of Alonso Sebastian, Prospero, who was the Duke of Milan, his daughter Miranda, wicked brother of Prospero, who was Antonio, who is the current Duke of Milan, Gonzalo, the kind counselor, Ariel, a good spirit, Sycorax, a witch, her son, a monster, Caliban, Trinculo, king's jester, Stefano, a butler. A butler, usually a manservant who is in charge of wine, drinks, etc. Now, among these characters, the major characters are Prospero, Miranda, Ferdinand, Ariel, Caliban. However, you should also notice Trinculo because usually for NET set exams and all, they ask questions related to Shakespeare's fools or jesters. So you must be clear that Trinculo, King's Jester, appears in which of Shakespeare's works? It is in The Tempest. Now let's start the story. The story begins with a very strong storm, a tempest. Hence, we can say that the title is very apt. So, in that tempest, we can see in that sea, in the middle of that sea, we can see a ship. In the ship, we have King Alonso, who is actually returning after attending the marriage of his daughter. King Alonso, along with his son Ferdinand, Sebastian, Antonio, and Gonzalo, and with rest of other crew members. Now, with that in that strong storm there is a shipwreck and finally they lands on an island. Now on that island presently there are only two human inhabitants. It is Prospero and his 15-year-old daughter Miranda. So who is Prospero, how Prospero ended up on that island, and we can also get to know that the tempest and that shipwreck was actually created by Prospero. Prospero was telling Miranda that Tempest was actually something that he created. However, he was very compassionate and made sure that none of the members are injured or none of them are dead. He brought everyone safe on that island. So for what reason he actually created this Tempest? So this actually takes us back to Prospero's story. 12 years back, Prospero was the Duke of Milan. However, he had this wicked brother Antonio who plotted against him with the King of Naples, and with that, Antonio becomes the Duke of Milan. Now, Prospero and Miranda are thrown away from this. Prospero is thrown away from this dukedom, and after becoming the Duke of Milan, Antonio orders Gonzalo to take Prospero and Miranda as captive on an open boat to drift in the seas until they die. However, Gonzalo, as we said in the beginning, was very kind. We can see that Prospero was very interested in magic and all. So Gonzalo put food and drink and Prospero's books of magic on that boat, and later with that they found their way to an enchanted island. So this is how Prospero and Miranda ended up on that island. Okay, now upon reaching there, Prospero actually wanted to have his vengeance. So it is because of that Prospero, with the help of Ariel, created a tempest. So who is Ariel? Actually, when Prosper and Miranda reached the island for the first time, there were only two beings on that island. It was Ariel and Caliban. Ariel was made as a captive on a pine tree. By whom? By Caliban's mother, Sycorax. As we told, she was a witch and she made Ariel to do certain bad deeds. So when Ariel disagreed to do, Ariel was made a captive. So later Sycorax died, and when Prospero and Miranda reached on that island, Prospero, with his magical skills and all, freed Ariel. And as a tribute, Ariel agreed to do whatever his master says. And it is with that, upon the instructions given by Prospero, Ariel created that Tempest and made sure that none of the members are injured, and again it takes them or everyone back on that island. Now there is Caliban also. Caliban, as we know, is a monster. However, we can see that Caliban was trained by Prospero. This is how we can see a few of the post-colonial elements in Tempest. Okay, how this master trains Caliban with the language, everything. Caliban was made to speak. The Caliban was taught the human language and all. However, as Caliban was a monster, was not a good being, always tried to do certain bad things. But since he was under the strict control of Prospero, he couldn't do anything against the wishes of Prospero. So what Caliban could do with the even with the language he was taught, was just to curse his master. He couldn't do anything else. So Caliban was made to do all the tasks assigned by Prospero. So this was the situation prevailing on that island. There was Ariel, Caliban, and the two human beings, Prospero and his 15-year-old daughter, beautiful daughter, Miranda. Now, at this time, we can see after the shipwreck, we have all these members wandering all over the island, and we can see the handsome prince Ferdinand sitting alone on that island after the shipwreck, thinking that he couldn't see any of the other members. So he just thinks that he is only survivor after that shipwreck. So at one point, Ariel goes there and Ariel sings. Okay, Ariel singing behind Prince Ferdinand. Ferdinand was unable to resist the power of music of Ariel. Ariel sings about sea waves, about dancing on yellow sands and all. I'll just recite two lines of the song of Ariel because it is important. Previously, this was asked for exams and all also. So it is, full fathom 5 thy father lies, of his bones are coral made. Those are pearls that were his eyes, nothing of him that doth fade. Okay, so this was the song that Ariel sung, and unable to resist the song of Ariel, uh, Ferdinand was cast under the enchantment of Ariel, and later he fell asleep. And once he wakes up, the first human that he sees on that island was Miranda, and in that first moment itself, both of them fall in love. However, Prospero was not ready to trust Ferdinand. What he did was he actually gives Ferdinand a lot of tasks, just like a slave. He made Ferdinand to do many things, and Ferdinand, without resisting, he just accept all those tasks and was in a journey to do just to collect wood from the forest. Everything, he was in a journey to all those tasks. Now, on the other side of the island, we can see other crew members, including the king. The king was very sad. We can see the king very sad because he just thought that Ferdinand died, because only Ferdinand is not with them, so they are all in search for Ferdinand. And at one point, again with this enchanting music, Ariel made all these members also to sleep. However, two people were never fall into that enchantment. It was Antonio and Sebastian. So upon seeing King and rest of the members asleep, Antonio plots with Sebastian that they will murder King Alonso, so that on returning back to the kingdom, Antonio can become the king of Naples. So they just took their sword and all. They were ready to murder King Alonso. That time, Ariel was actually overhearing their conversation. Ariel suddenly comes and awakes the king and all. None of the other members can see Ariel, so Ariel awakes the rest of the members, and King suddenly, when he just asks Antonio and Sebastian, why you guys are with a sword. So they just tell that, okay, we found a lion, and as a part of self-defense, we just took the sword. So in this manner, the plot, they couldn't execute the plot. Now coming back to the other side, we can see Stefano, Trinculo, and Caliban plotting to murder Prospero. As I told, Caliban was not at all happy with his master, so he always wanted somehow to murder Prospero. And that time he finds Stefano and Trinculo. We know that one is a butler and the other is a jester. And Stefano was drunk and he gave few wine to Trinculo and Caliban also. And together they became a group and they decided to murder. The main plot was created by Caliban only. He tells them that okay, after murdering Prospero they could control the whole island. So in that manner they were plotting to murder Prospero. Again, this was overheard by Ariel. And Ariel, what he does, he just sends few bad spirits and frightens these three, Stefano, Trinculo, and Caliban, and that plot was also made into a failure. Now, again coming back, there was Ferdinand and Miranda in the middle of the forest. Ferdinand again sees Miranda, and there they exchange words, they exchange their love, and finally Ferdinand agrees to marry Miranda. So Prospero, hiding behind a tree, Prospero was watching all these things, and he eventually becomes convinced that Ferdinand is actually in true love with Miranda. So he's happy. Now, later we can see that Prospero arrange a huge banquet and he invites a few spirits and all. They all sing, dance, and bless Ferdinand and Miranda for their marriage. So that there is a happy side of it. And again, on the other side, we have the king Alonso, everyone there. A banquet is arranged. Okay, and they were about to start having the food. Suddenly, Ariel appears in the form of a different kind of being, and it threatens them by saying about the bad deeds that all they did before reaching that island. And towards the end, we can see Prospero revealing everything to all people. Okay, Ariel takes all the members towards Prospero, and there Prospero reveals what all the things, and Prospero agrees that they all have suffered for the bad deeds they have done, and now he is ready to forgive. So Alonso agrees, and he agrees that on reaching back, Prospero will become the Duke. The King Alonso gets ready to get his son Ferdinand get married with Miranda, and in that manner, there is all happy ending, and they all go back to their kingdom. The Ariel was freed. Okay, as a final tribute, Ariel agrees to create a peaceful sea so that they could peacefully sail and safely sail and reach back their kingdom. Nothing special is mentioned about Caliban actually. It's mentioned that Ariel was freed, but whether Caliban was freed or not, there is not clear mentioning about this thing. So maybe we can assume that since Miranda and Prospero leaves the island, maybe Caliban was left there alone. Okay, this is something that we can assume. However, Prospero made sure that he will stop practicing magic and reading magic books and all. Will upon reaching back, he will rule his subjects properly. So in this manner, there is a happy ending to the story. So this was the short summary of the play, The Tempest.